Hi everybody, Patty Ann here. Today I'm going to show you a really fun project to do. Most of us who are making quilts should be putting labels on our quilts, but I know I'm not. Maybe you're not either. But yesterday I decided that I'm going to start putting them on, and I'm going to use paper piece blocks on the back of my quilt, onto which I have printed with my home inkjet printer a label. You can see the one I worked on yesterday. And what's really great about this project is the only thing that you need is your fabric and some freezer paper. And yes, you can buy freezer paper from the local grocery store to use, but if you get this kind, which I do use for a lot of projects, but for this project it's not the best one or the most ideal freezer paper to use, because your freezer paper has to be cut to exactly 8.5 by 11 to fit into your printer. And not only exact cutting, but you don't want it to be rolling or curling like this. So what we sell at Beginnings Quilt Shop is perfect for this. It's freezer sheets, comes 50 in a pack, and they're 8.5 by 11, perfectly cut. But if you'd prefer, you can get the legal size as well. We have those. But the 8.5 and 11 is what I'm using. And again, the reason why I like it is it already comes pre-cut. It's not going to get jammed in your printer. It's not curling. It's perfect. So the next thing that you'll need to do after you get that is you're going to have to find the pattern that you'd like to use for your paper piecing. So what I did was I went online and I did a Google search. And I just typed in free paper piecing. And the one that I went to was this one right here called Wombat Quilts. Click on it and it takes you to a page, excuse me, for Wombat Quilts. And on this page he has several or many different paper piecing patterns that are free. So I scrolled down until I found one that I thought would be perfect for my purposes, and it's this one right here. The reason being is this little square right in here I think will be perfect for my lettering that I want to put in there. So I double click on that one, and it's going to take me to a page that has more information about that specific pattern, and it's going to give me the pattern. And if I double click on that, it'll open the pattern at a page by itself. Then I'm going to print it out 2 times, okay, on my paper. So here it is printed out 2 times on just regular paper, and it gives me an idea of exactly how much space I have to put text in my label. So now that I know that, and I kind of have an idea of what I'm going to put in here in my head, I'm going to open up Notepad or WordPad or OpenOffice or Microsoft Word, any kind of program that will allow you to manipulate the font size and the type of font that you're using is all you need. So I'm going to open up, I think it was WordPad. There it is. And I'm going to type in, I would type in what I was going to use specifically. It could be happy birthday, it could be anything. I just can't think right now, but any kind of sentiment that you'd want to say. Since mine's just a sample one, I'm just going to type in my first quilt. Let's see. It might help if I put my glasses on to make sure I'm typing. Oh yeah, that's good, Pat. Oh yeah. My first quilt, Patty and Caruso, and the date is April 6th, 2016. Okay, so there I have it typed in, but I don't want it to be that small. As you'll notice up here, it's the Arial text, and it's, 10. I'm going to change the size. So right now I'm going to hold my mouse key down and highlight all of this and change the size to maybe something more like 24. I'm just trying something at random, so 24 will be what I'll try. Okay, now that looks great, except for maybe I don't like that stiff or something, a font. Maybe I don't like Arial. So what I can do is highlight it again. And I can actually go to Format and Font, and this will allow me to see what the different fonts look like when I click on them. So I'm just scrolling down a little bit. Let's just say I pick any one of these at random. And if you'll notice that this box right here, it changes depending on which font I've chosen over here. Okay, you see how that changes. I think what Betsy is. I think I'll try Betsy. Never tried Betsy before. And now I have this at regular. I could make it bold if I wanted to, and I think I will make it bold. Now I have no idea what this is really going to print out like, but that's the beauty of this technique. Before you ever even go to put it on your fabric, you're going to print one out on paper just to see if you like it. So I'm going to say okay, and it's going to change this font up here. And there we go, my first quilt. Okay, that looks pretty good. I kind of like that. The only other thing I might want to do is to move it over a bit more. Let's see. I think I can, well, let's just move it by just using the space key. Okay, so the next thing that I would do is I would save this and print it on my paper, on a sheet of paper. Then I would take that sheet of paper, let's pretend like it's on this sheet here, and I would line it up behind my square to see how it would work out. Do I have enough space around that on the paper where I will have room for the salvages? Okay, so if that was printed out, let's just pretend like it was printed out like this, the first line. Let's pretend like this is what printed out on my on my printer, that large. You would automatically be able to see that that is not going to fit in that box. Not only will it not fit in that box, but I won't have a 1/4 inch for the seam allowance all around the box either. So that's the beauty of why you print it out first and then kind of hold it up and see how's that going to work. Once I print that out, am I going to have room to not only cut out the square, which I've measured, but adding a 1/4 inch on all sides. Okay. After that, when I find out that it is going to work, I've done it on my piece of paper. The next thing I do is I get my piece of let me get a new sheet out, a freezer wrap. And this is nice, as I said, 50 sheets come in a pack. So you'll be able to make a lot of quilt labels. There's a sheet, okay? The next thing I do is you'll notice the freezer paper has a shiny side and a papery or a dull side. You'll want to take your cloth that you're going to print onto and have it ironed really nicely. This is wrinkly, but you'd have it ironed or pressed nicely. And then you're going to press it onto, right side up, press it onto the freezer paper, okay? I'm going to press this really nicely onto here. It's going to be adhered very well. Then what you'll do is take your ruler and your rotary cutter and just trim it off equal with the freezer paper. So you don't want any of the fabric hanging out over the edges because you want it to feed smoothly into your printer and not get caught. And it won't if you just are careful. So the next thing you'll do is you'll just put this whole thing into your printer and print out your label, then cut it up and use it in your project. It's a lot of fun. That's it. Oh, one other thing is we do sell the EQ7 printable paper, like it's already on something similar to freezer paper. It's an off-white color, but the reason why I like this method is because you can use a color of fabric that more matches the your palette that you're using. And I did heat set this with my iron when I was done. And that's it. It's easy as that. Thanks for joining me. Bye-bye.